insurance company is giving you the runaround. At the Mike Hostel Law Firm, we do car wrecks. Let's have a conversation.
Closed captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
A brave local third grader on a worldwide search for a bone marrow donor. Coming up, an update as little Amelia continues to defy the odds and build the life she's always dreamed of.
But first up, we're checking in with one of our largest local school districts to see what steps they're taking to keep our kids safe in the classroom. An active shooter in your child's school is something no parent ever wants to think about.
But still, the reality is that it can happen anywhere, and it's up to school district leaders to make sure that they are prepared for anything. Our Will Brio live in the newsroom. And Will, you talked to Superintendent King Lawrence in Aiken today, so what is the district doing to be ready?
Well, they're working to make some changes to safety plans and adding more personnel to school districts across the district. Now, they're adding new technology for staff members and just reminding everyone in their schools that they're working every single day to be proactive to make sure a tragic situation never happens.
Day in and day out, and behind the scenes at your kid's school, Aiken County district leaders are working to make sure every student, teacher, and staff member makes it home at the end of the day.
Safety is something that we think about every day. I mean, a day doesn't go by that I'm not concerned about student and employee safety.
Aiken County School Superintendent King Lawrence tells us he's working to improve safety even before the tragic events unfolded in Texas.
But that's got to be something that we think about every day, whether there's a tragedy somewhere else in our country or not. We've got to be thinking about it, and it has to be our top priority every single day to ensure safety.
He believes it's helping them be proactive instead of reactive. They're working on hiring a new director of safety and emergency operations.
This is going to provide us with an opportunity to have someone who's fully engaged in school safety all day, every day.
That includes making safety plans, training staff, and talking with law enforcement. He says securing school entrances is also in the works for many older buildings.
You have to make sure the doors are locked. You have to make sure that you have a single point of entry in our schools. You have to remind students not to open doors for anybody.
School resource officers are not in every school yet, but he tells me local law enforcement is working to make that happen.
Evil exists in the world. It's out there, and we have to do everything we can to keep our students safe. We have to make sure that we're following those protocols.
Now, we've talked about staffing shortages with teachers, but local law enforcement is also seeing that. Superintendent Lawrence says that they'd love to have an officer on site 24/7, but that's not possible right now. He says he's confident in our local law enforcement to respond quickly if there is an incident.
And so many things have to happen to have that school really secure. Will, thank you. Also, Governor McMaster talking about this afternoon on the state's approach to active shooter preparation in our schools. He's focusing on a couple of areas: improving school mental health services and putting a school resource officer on every campus.
We've provided funding and authorization for a mental health counselor, either in every school or immediate access. That's a big part of that's a big component in what we see going on is mental health.
A recent audit by the South Carolina Department of Health shows mental health services are available in fewer than half of the state's public schools. Right now, about 300 schools statewide do not have a school resource officer.
Taking a look outside, another pretty...
About 10 minutes.
For 6 years, a Burke County family has prayed, waited, and searched for answers in the disappearance of Simon Powell. He was last seen June 1st of 2016. The next day, investigators found his white Ford pickup burned. Now, Sheriff Alfonso Williams is upping the reward for information in that case to $30,000. Our Claire Allen live in the studio with why there's a renewed focus on bringing Powell home.
Sheriff Alfonso Williams says as time goes by, the longer it takes to solve a case. But as time passes, circumstances and people can change. The family of Simon Powell is praying for closure and says 6 years is too long.
We'd like to bring a close to this case.
Details are vague in the disappearance of Simon Powell. Despite police finding his burned truck in June of 2016, there has been no trace of Powell for 6 years.
We know that foul play is involved here. We know that he did not voluntarily leave his family.
investigators are now offering a $30,000 reward for anyone with information about his disappearance.
We can't do it without the public. We can't do it without the community.
Powell's family say they never would imagine this happening to them.
It's like a bad dream. You never think about, one of your family members going missing.
We just don't understand why, how, for what. Family members say he was a loving, nice business owner who would help anyone in need. They are praying for answers to be revealed.
It's real frustrating. You don't have anything to go off of. After 6 years, you would think somebody would come forward and say something.
There's a lot of family members that's hurting. He recently had a sister that passed. She passed with that on her heart. We need closure. If you have any information on Powell's case, call the Berks County Sheriff's Office.
Hopefully someone will come forward with that key to the missing person there. Happening now, Columbia County officials meeting to go over ideas for next year's SPLOST project list. That meeting happening at Martinez Elementary. It's happening until 8 o'clock. You do have some time to make it over there if you still want to go. Some of the ideas that could make it to the ballot in November include improvements to Patriots, Riverside, and Blanchard Park. They're also looking at improvements to Ray Owens, White Oak, and North Bel Air roads. Again, that meeting at Martinez Elementary until 8 o'clock tonight. Also happening right now, candidate for mayor Stephen Kendrick meeting with people to answer questions and get some feedback on the old Regency Mall plan that's going on at Diamond Lakes Regional Park. The plans include new retail, restaurants, and housing for South Augusta. If you can't make it out this evening, there's another session set for Wednesday over at the Henry Brigham Community Center, also starting at 6 o'clock.
Take a look at these new renderings. This is a look at what could go in the place of the old Hotel Aiken, just one part of Project Pascalis. Architects say they took in a lot of feedback from the community with these new plans, and they say the latest updates are meant to soften the hotel's new look. The design also returns two-way traffic and parking to Newberry Street. That was a big concern. Tomorrow you'll have a chance to give more feedback from 5 to 7. You can do that at Newberry Hall. We have good news to share about a local third grader with leukemia. Our I-team told you about how difficult it can be to find a match for a bone marrow donor for patients of color. It's not a perfect match for Amelia, but her recent donor's generosity could mean she is one step closer to living the life she deserves. As the school year ended, friends, classmates, and teachers lined the driveway at Greenbrier Elementary to celebrate a brave third grader hoping for a new beginning.
I want this to be over with so I can get my puppy.
That's Amelia, and she's been battling AML leukemia, which has a high rate of relapse. To give her the best shot at a long, healthy life, she needs a bone marrow donor.
Unfortunately, we could not find a match for Amelia because of her ethnic makeup. So the rush was then to find a good mismatch.
While they worried about finding the closest match, they were hit with another crisis, since she needs platelets once or twice a week and blood about every 2 weeks.
Our I-team has been telling you about a nationwide blood shortage affecting all of us here at home.
Hospitalists at the Children's Hospital of Georgia told me they pretty much are working on a day-to-day basis for what they can do.
They had this emergency shortage. They actually have to wait till her levels were super low before they transfused her, and that was unnerving because she bled seriously.
But along with begging donors to give blood, they were desperately searching for bone marrow donors of diverse backgrounds. Our I-team told you about the odds facing Amelia when they started the search back in February. Since her background is part Asian and part African American, the genetic needle to thread for a perfect match is narrow, and the worldwide search to find the best possible match has been heartbreaking.
There were really a few good choices, but unfortunately they did not want to sign up for the bone marrow harvesting, which the pediatric patients need.
Her mom was only a 50% match, but it was the best they had. But 2 days before she was set to be admitted for the bone marrow transplant, they received a phone call.
I got a call from the transplant doctor telling me that someone appeared out of nowhere and they consented to do whatever was needed, and she was a 75% mismatched donor.
A healthy 23-year-old willing to give Amelia 25% better odds than her mom could, and 75% better odds than she has right now.
I was in shock. I did ask her, really, are you serious about someone she said yes.
So Friday, Amelia receives a bone marrow. We're all hoping changes everything for her.
Over the next few weeks, they'll keep doing blood tests and see if the bone marrow donor cells are engrafting or taking up in her old marrow.
And if they are, this smart, shy girl will hopefully be back to being a kid again and taking care of that new puppy very soon.
That's what we're rooting for. We want her to move on so she can focus on the things that kids should be focused on, like getting that puppy. But this only happens with donors. And to find out if you're a match for someone, all you have to do is take a cheek swab and you mail it off. It's pretty simple.
So simple. And if you are a match, that's the other important piece of this, as they pointed out, because they did find some people who were very good matches who weren't willing to answer the call. So for a pediatric patient, they do need to take the marrow out of your pelvic bone. It's an outpatient procedure done under anesthesia, but most donors say it usually feels like you worked out really hard at the gym. And for that, you can save a life like Amelia.
A little soreness and you move on, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
Someone who we don't know, may never know, has given her a shot.
And I did check with Amelia's mom today, and she does have a really hard dose of chemo and radiation, and she's going to feel the effects from this transplant. So just keep her family in your thoughts the next few days.
We are pulling for you, Amelia. Okay, they say competition breeds greatness, and when it's for a good cause, everybody wins. Coming up, departments at the Children's Hospital of Georgia battling it out with a common goal.
And we are starting off the work week drive, but heading towards our Wednesday. Our next front of arrives, bringing us a decent chance for storms. We'll have an update on the forecast next. Saturday looking like our highest storm days.
The Children's Hospital of Georgia just wrapping up their May is for Miracles campaign, just a way for staff to raise some money for the hospital they love so much, and most importantly, for the families they serve.
Tarzana Halliburton was there as judges took the hall to see which department was decked out the most.
You may have seen these yellow balloons around, but may not know what they stand for. That's why May is for Miracles was started, not only to raise awareness, but also money for the Children's Hospital of Georgia.
When anyone in our community visits some of our partners, such as Panda Express, Walmart, Costco, Dairy Queen, and the list goes on, when they're asked to donate for Children's Miracle Network, that they understand 100% of that donation goes right to our Children's Hospital of Georgia.
All Augusta University departments are asked to participate, whether that's purchasing balloons themselves or raising money through the community. They then turn around and use the balloons to make a creative display. Everyone has one mission, and that's giving back to their hospital.
We love our kids. We enjoy being together and working here with the kids every day. We want what's best for them ultimately, and all this money is going to go back to things that are going to help them and help us treat them to the best of our ability.
20 departments participated in the fundraiser. However, 11 chose to create a display with the balloons.
So we chose to do a space theme this year because our children at CHOG are out of this world, and we all know that they're absolutely amazing, and we want to give them the chance to welcome them to our galaxy as well. And so we actually incorporated some of their artwork through with a few of astronauts around on our display.
Well, our reasoning, or why we were going through with this design, was because we really love supporting the child life aspect of the Children's Hospital, and we wanted to go with just children at play and that spirit of play and the healing properties.
The judges consisted of Children's Miracle Network partners, hospital leadership, and CHOG ambassadors. For 12-year-old Eleanor Russell, the Children's Hospital was there when she needed it.
It means a lot to me, and it's always been great. Like, it's been amazing feeling the support and knowing they're there.
So the next time you're asked to make a donation to the Children's Miracle Network, know you're helping faces like Eleanor and the Children's Hospital of Georgia.
It just shows how much people truly care about everyone here, and it makes me feel so happy that I'm a part of such a great thing.
Reporting in Augusta, Zana Halliburton on your side.
Helping miracles happen. Zana, thanks. Next in sports, Phil Mickelson coming back to golf, but not for the PGA Tour, plus a big signing in Barnwell. Next with Nick. New at 6 o'clock, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office says Nolan Austin is in custody in connection with a shooting at a BP gas station on Friday. This was the one on Wrightsboro Road, not too far from Augusta Mall. They say one person was injured, taken to a hospital. Austin, though, charged with aggravated assault and reckless conduct. Also new this evening, a couple of changes heading to the June.
Today, Phil Mickelson made his first public statement since February, announcing he'll be joining the field for the new LIV Tour event. Mickelson will reportedly sign a contract worth about $200 million. He said he has a renewed spirit and excitement for the game, but said he hopes to play in the majors, though that's really up to the PGA Tour. Now, of course, the Masters is not run by the PGA Tour, so we could still see Lefty in Augusta, regardless of what the PGA decides. According to reports, Tiger turned down a, quote, mind-blowingly enormous number, up near $1 billion. We're going to check out the weather coming up after the break.